Hey there. So, good morning and good evening. Um, we are in session number 17 in today's class, and we are in the last but one session for this Python for Beginners course. And technically, this is the last theoretical class for this course. And in the next session, we are going to do a little bit of hands-on problem solving, picking up the problems from the web, and also I'll going to give you references where you can go and keep monitoring for the real-time activities kind of stuff. You're going to get all of them in the next session. So as always, before we start this session, let's do a quick recap of what was session number 16. Okay, so the session number 16 was completely about uh, you know uh, one second, I think, one second, I did not open my Excel sheet so that I can refer that and then take you through session number 16. Yeah, thank you for that. So the data visualization concepts, just that I wanted to bring them onto the screen. We have histograms that we have covered. We had bar charts that we have covered, line charts, scatter charts, pie charts, and word cloud. Okay, so in the data visualizations concepts, the important thing that we have taken away is nothing but using a Python kernel or a Python shell, how to draw the charts. In today's world, the charts are very, very important if you wanted to get into data analytics world. The examples that we have taken was, the COVID cases, the websites which has been actively participating in, sharing the analytics on the COVID cases. That's what we have seen. So we have also tried to generate the similar charts using some data set of a gaming platform. We have taken around 3,200 customers on the gaming platform and then their behaviors. We were able to do some analysis on the histograms of the customers. We have been able to draw some bar charts. We have been able to draw some line charts, scatter, pie, and then finally the word cloud. So the word cloud is something that is popular in the recent past because the visualization has become so and so intensive in every businesses in the world today. So the word cloud came into the existence after the natural language processing has become a very, very important section for the analytics. When I say natural language processing, if I write a paragraph of story, from the story I should be able to make out something. What am I trying to convey from the paragraph? Is it, I'm happy writing that paragraph, or am I sad writing that paragraph, etc. This is more likely useful in the e-commerce websites where you write some review, right? Whether the text that you have written in the review is a positive feedback or a negative feedback or a neutral feedback. This is automatically done. Nobody is going to basically go and read the text for you and then flag it whether it is a bad review or a good review. System is automatically going to do that. And this is the NLP world. And it is also part of the machine learning skill set in the market. Okay, so having said that, that is what we have covered in the last session, and I have also given you a hint of matplotlib is the library that we have covered in the last session. But taking that matplotlib as an example, do not consider that that's the only package that helps you to draw the charts. There is another package or module called Seaborn. So once you are very familiar, got your hands dirty with the complete matplotlib package, try to generate the similar charts using Seaborn. So both the links of matplotlib documentation and the Seaborn documentations was given in the Python file for you. So just go do all the exercises that you want to do and also all the experiments, so that, as I told you in the last session, data visualization by the chapter itself is a profession, right? It's a career opportunity. If something that interests you in that area, please go ahead, do all the possible explorations, and then build that skill. All right. So today's topic is logs and notifications. Basically, when I say notifications, there are multiple ways of notifying something, right? The very, very super common notification technique is through an email. Okay. So when I say logs, as I have taken you guys through the try block exception block, and finally block, where if you wanted to basically set a program to run a line of code, and if it fails, it gets into an exception. In the exception, you can catch that error and you can print that error. And finally is whether it is an exception or it is not an exception, finally block is going to execute. Why did I basically iterate this topic today is the logging is not only for errors. Logging can be for information as well. Logs can be for the warnings as well. So on and so forth. Logs can be used for debugging purpose as well. So it's important when you basically write thousands and thousands of lines of code, you basically print a proper message on the screen so that you really understand where the problem is. Is the problem coming from line number 1002 or is the problem coming from line number 102? It becomes very, very tedious if you don't properly log your program. So today we are going to see how do we structure the print statements properly so that you will be able to identify what the problem is when you write a very lengthy and a complex code. That's what we are going to learn today. And the last one we are going to learn today is how to send an email right from your Python. And we are going to use Gmail as the email server because I hope everybody have a Gmail account. So I am going to show you how to generate an email body subject from your Python kernel and send it to somebody. You need not log into your Gmail account to send an email. Instead, it will be exciting if you can send an email from your Python shell. That's what we're going to see in today's session. All right. So let's come to our code. Okay. So the code says, okay, so let me come to the logging section of it. So the logging section, as I told you, it's important to log something properly. It can be a debugging information. When I say debugging information, in my code, there was some issue in the code and I wanted to debug it line by line. And if it is a debugging information, I can get that properly structured on the screen, printed. And if it is an information, it is just for your information that I have completed this job. It can be an information, it can be a warning. You have told me to do 5 things, but only 3 things have been completed. I'm giving you a warning that second one and fifth one did not complete. Or an error. That means a fatal error where you have asked me to do 5 things, all the 5 things did not happen. The error message should tell you that. And critical. When it says critical, it can be a very, very complex thing that it did not solve and you had to come out of the system. Okay. Remember one thing, logging is nothing but printing a message on the screen. So if I say print, this is our skill and you are in Python for beginners class. When I say this is a print statement, right? Logging is nothing but a print statement. But what is difference between a log and a normal print is nothing but I am importing the default module which is available when you install your Python. This is default, you need not install this. I'm importing this into my shell. Okay, so I think my shell got hanged now. I forgot to basically restart it. Okay, I think I have to take that route. I'm sorry for that. Let me get into the memory processes. So where is my Python? Too many things running on my system. Let me sort this process and go to P. P is on the top. And yeah, here it is. So it is 1382. So let me kill it. Kill -9 1382. So it has been killed. So let me reload this. Cool. I'm importing this module. Now, what is the difference between this print? Now, instead of this print, I would say logging dot, call it an error. And inside this error, you have the same message. So let me show you the difference between these two. Okay. So I think I'm sorry. Error. This is the one. What is the difference between this print statement? You see, this print statement is just a message, whatever you give inside it. But when I say logging.error, as I told you, it is also a print statement, but you see there is a pattern in it. I am giving you this message, but this message belongs to an error and it is from the root handler. I'll tell you what is this handle in a while, but see the difference? This is in the form of red text. This is in the form of white, but that doesn't matter. This is only the difference that PyCharm is showing you, but in reality, there is no color given to a logger.info, logger.error, nothing like that. And similarly, if I say logging dot warning, okay, warning, inside this, I'll again say the same, message. Now let's see what does it say. The difference would be, instead of error, you see warning in the start. Okay. Now again, there is another function inside logging called, critical. So if I say this, everything is same, but the first character or the first word that is coming into this print statement is changing. Now you might be asking, why should I do this? Instead, I can do the print itself, right? But believe me, if you learn as a practice, instead of using a print statement, you start using the logging, it becomes very, very efficient when you read a log file. So what do you mean by a log file? Probably you are writing 1,000 lines of code and there are 1,000 print statements. And 1,000 print statements to identify if there was an error in the file or not, it is very difficult. Instead, if you just call it this, it basically gives you that you can directly search the complete text file with the word called error so that you can identify what is the exact cause of it. Not only this, I'm also going to tell you additional advantages of using logger over the print statement. Now, this is not an error for me. This is just an information for me, right? So there is another function inside logging called info, and then this message. Okay. By default, this info message doesn't print on the screen. I'll tell you why. See, there is nothing in the output. So what is that you have to do is you have to set that. You have to also show me the information coming from the debugging level or the level called info. So let me do that. Okay. Let me not waste time. I have it here. Yeah. So what am I saying is, for the current logger, which is the function, inside that set level, also set information to throw on the screen for info as well. Now when I pass this information and then put the same message in the bottom, you see, now info is there to me on the screen. Now this is very, very blunt, right? This is as good as print statement. Now what is the additional advantage that I have to control my message? Now you see, you wanted to also print along with this message, you also wanted to print if, what time it has been an issue. Okay, not only this, you wanted to also print along with the message what time, along with the timestamp, this message has been occurred in the program. There comes, you have all the control to format it. Okay, so let me show you this. In here, so I would say logging dot set formatter, and then this is a format that it should say, but I would say that this is not the way to do it because, okay, I think now you have understood what am I trying to do here. Nothing but along with info and along with root, I also wanted to get the time and date when the information is printed for me on the screen. For this, we have to go and change the default settings of your logging. So the default setting of your print inside the logging module is level of the logging, right? And which name of the logger. By default, the name of the logger is root. And what is the message that I wanted to print? Now, to change these things, you have to follow a different route. You have to set handlers on your own. Okay, what is an handler? let me basically create a handler. For example, Oracle underscore handler is nothing but logging dot stream handler. Okay. Now I gave a name to my handler. Okay. Now inside this handler, I'm going to change all the formats that I wanted to print on the screen. So how do I do that? Instead of typing, I would basically take this message and then you will see the difference. It will be exciting. Okay. In here, I'm saying inside this Oracle handler, you set a different format. What is the format? Okay, instead of name, I would also say percentile. Yes, space hyphen. I'll explain you how do I know this syntaxes. ASC time. Okay. So is it AS time or ASC time? It is just that I remember as ASC time. That is nothing but the full ASCII time of the system. And then whatever message I give, this is a name and this is the level name. Level name is whether it is an info, whether it is an error, whether it is so on and so forth. Now, I have to basically generate a logging now. So Oracle underscore logger is nothing but in the logging. Okay, I think this is the one. Oracle underscore handler is equals to okay, let me paste it. Why am I wasting time? Because I have to cover the email section also. That's the reason I'm pasting it here, so that your time is not being wasted. So I'm calling it this. So I'm giving a name to my logger. Okay. So first my handler is ready. Inside this handler, as I told you, my format of the handler is also ready. Now I am generating a logger, which is from the logging system. There is a name given to it. Inside this logger, I'm telling take everything that I have configured inside my handler. Okay. So I would take this. Okay. Now let me go copy paste exactly the same thing that I have got on the top. Let's see what is the difference. Okay. Cool. Now let's see this. See? Okay, this is because I have two handlers at the moment. I'm reloading my system. So instead of this, I would just say import log and now set, okay, am I on the right place? Yeah, set handler first. It is called handler. Inside the handler, I am telling what is the format that you should print on the screen. Not just error, root and message. Instead, I have to also print my time of the system. Now I'm bringing that into a different name. Instead of root, I'm giving some name that is default in the system. I'm actually assigning every configuration that I've given in the handler into this logger. That's why you see this function. Now if I print this, instead of logging.error, now I am saying Oracle underscore logger.error. That means I have configured my own format. That's the only thing. Now you see, the timestamp is there. The name that is assigned, the Oracle underscore logger name is underscore underscore main because I did not give any name to the file. Okay. So I will only print this thing on the screen for you so that you understand why the name is like this. See, it is underscore underscore main. That's the reason when I say print name also on the screen, you see it as underscore underscore main. First, I said ASCII time of my system. It is also there. Hyphen. Then give the name of the logger. The name of the logger has been given as underscore underscore main. Then what is the level of log? It is an error because I said error. You see the error and then you get a message. So you have the flexibility to basically control your logging system as you want it to be. So instead, if I say, for example, critical, okay, you see, instead of error, you see critical. Now I can play with the complete formats of it, right? Instead of hyphen, I would say colon. Instead of this, I would say pipe. Instead of this, I would say probably plus. Now again, I will change my handler. And after I change my handler, if I run everything like this, see, I got two different things just because it will create two different handles for me. So the problem with handler is once the handler is created, if you keep changing the formats, it will add a second format to it. It will not overwrite the existing format. with this opportunity, I also got some example for you to show that also. So what if you wanted to completely remove the old format and you wanted to replace this format? You see what happened here? You got the old format and you got the new format as well. The another way to do is you can create another handler instead of this handler. Okay, so I would do like the same thing. I copy paste. I basically say Oracle handler 2 and this is the 2 syntax, and I copy paste this completely. I call it another logger 2 2 and 2. Now if I only run all of this, let's see what happens. You see, the handler is the concept of logging. So what is happening is the second handler is again going and being appended with this particular log. So for this, the next solution that you should think about is creating a file called config.yaml file. Okay, now I do not want to get into the concepts of config.yaml file because it's a complex thing for me to cover in this session. But remember, in case if you wanted to control all the formats of all different systems uniquely in one single place, please go and try to see, once you're comfortable of this logging system, how to create a config.yaml. And as always, there is a help document that is in Python. So even today, I will go to the help document to do that. See, logging is a package inside which you have a basic tutorial in case if you want. That is what I'm showing you today. And in case if you wanted advanced tutorial, you can also go to the advanced tutorial where you will see how to create YAML files. Okay, you can create n number of formats, n number of handlers, and you can use those handlers in your code. See, something like this. I am basically teaching you whatever is there from this documentation because logging is a module somebody has developed. What are we trying to do? We're only trying to utilize what they have developed and use it for our purposes. See, what is he doing here? He's saying a format, this is the time, and this is a client IP address that you can also print. You can also print which client has executed this, which user has executed this. Instead of name, if you say user, which user executed this, and what is the message. When I make this as a basic config and then, say warning, you see everything. Before the protocol problem is and whatever is the message that you wanted to print, all of this has been configured in this format. So that's the beauty of having logging, a proper logging system onto your program. Okay, so you can use this help document. This is the same help document that I've just picked and given to you on the screen here with some sample examples. Okay, just to help you answer, if you want to clear, just rerun this. I would like to go and only load my logging here for time being, and then I would come back to this console wherever handler 2 has been created. I give this handler 2. Okay, so the reason is handler 2. This is the handler 2. You get this critical error. Now, I think one thing that I missed doing it in the last session was, in the same thing, if you wanted a different format, how do I do it, right? So one solution is using config.yaml. It is a little tricky and I do not want it to cover it until unless you feel comfortable of logging first. So in case if I have a different format, as I told you, instead of this, if I say hyphen, and instead of this I say, for example, 3 hyphens or 4 hyphens. If this is my format, I'm setting it here, I'm calling it here, and I'm calling it 3, I'm calling it 3, 3, and 3. Now let me print this. You see, this is a problem that I said. You have the old one, you have the new one. So the config.yaml is the one that you have to rely upon. Okay, with this, I think logging is done. As simple as that. Logging might not be so much interesting to most of you guys because logging is as good as printing. But in case if you want to make a default print format whenever you want to print and you want to call that print statement as an information and you wanted to call that print statement as a warning, and you want to call that print statement as an error, or you wanted to call that print statement as critical. If you want to do this, Logger is the best friend for you. Okay, so I will write here, please try creating multiple handlers using config.yaml file and load into your Python shell. Okay, because one thing that I noticed is in every session I would have given this in the past, but giving you some pieces of exercises would have helped you to practice beyond what am I trying to teach in the session. So I can do that with the help of logging here. Okay, so let me check if I have covered all the topics that I thought of to let you know. Yeah, this is the reference file, just for your information. It is also given so that you can go and start looking at what are the different things that you can do inside the logging. Okay, so the second concept for today is how to send an email report from your Python console. By default, there is a package called SMTP, SMTP lib I will use. Okay, so this is a by default available package. Okay, for security reasons, what I did is I have created a file called credentials.py, but I'm not going to open it. What does it have? It has got my email address and the password. So inside this, I created 2 to 3 variables. One variable is called username. So username will be called as, for example, user is equals to username. I'll call this. I'm not going to print it on the screen. I'm also going to close this because my passwords would be visible. So sorry, I'm loading it. So user is going to be my email address, that is nothing but Gmail. Then password is nothing but I created a variable inside this file called password. I'm calling it as PASSWD on the screen. Okay, and I have also said to email, to which email address I have to send the email. So I'm also calling it as to email. Okay, so these are the variables that I have got. So my username of Gmail, that is nothing but your username @gmail.com is the value that you have to set here. Instead of this, you have to set your password. You have to say, give a list of email addresses to whom you have to send an email. All right. So the next thing that you have to do is, now let me send my email. Okay, with a proper simple thing on the screen. So let me copy paste this. So what did I do? Inside this SMTP library, there is a function called SMTP_SSL. This I am setting my Gmail. This is common to everybody. So smtp.gmail.com is the host, is the server through which you can send an email, and it listens on the port called 465. Okay, I'm creating this object because this is a class, and inside this object there is a function called login, and please log in with my user and with my password. Okay, before I do this, please remember whatever email addresses you have to basically go to this location, or to this link before you log in. I'm again telling you this, and you have to select something. You will get to this screen. By default, less secure app access will be off. You have to change it to on. Even after you change it to on, let me refresh this. Even after you change it to on, you will not be able to log in because Gmail is so secure, right? So for the first time when you try to log in, even after you changing it to on, what happens is you will get an email like this. Somebody is trying to access your email address through a different app. Do you want it to accept it? So just click on the check activity, and after you click on the check activity, you will get a message saying that should you accept this or not. You have to click on yes. After you click on yes, again come back to this page called less secure app access. This will go to off state again, and then please switch it on. Please remember, again I'm telling you, if you are doing it for the first time, switch on the access there. Okay, come back and try to log in with this. you will not be able to log in. You will be able to see an error here on the screen. What is that you see? Try logging in. You will see an error. When you see error, okay, go back to your emails. Okay, you might have got email saying email with critical access issue. Open the email and accept it. After you accepting it, again redirect yourself to the less secure apps URL and then switch it on. With this, after you switch it on, just give 5 minutes for the Gmail to sync up your access. After you leave the system, after all of the steps, you leave the system for 5 minutes, then you come back to your code, then execute these steps. Now let me go and say user login. Okay, what happened to this step? Yeah, let me say now user login. Let's see what happens. See, it has logged in. It has accepted the connection. Now I am saying from whatever email to whatever email I have configured here in the variable. This is a variable, right? To that email, just send a message called this is a message from Python. And then after you sending it, quit this class. That's it. Let's see. See, it has been completed. Come back to my email. Let's see if I got any email now. Okay. So let me refresh this. See, the email has come. I did not give any subject, but I just gave a body to it. Right? As simple as that. Send email is the function inside this class called smtp_ssl so that you can send any email from Google account that you have. Now in this two email, you can give the list of emails like this. You can, in the list, you can give 10 different emails, 20 different emails. It will send the email to all of them. Okay. So let me, this is right, very raw, right? In case if you wanted to create an elegant email using your Python, there are another libraries that I would go here directly and take you through, saying that email.mim.multipart, there is something called MIME multipart is the function that you should load. MIME text is something that you should load. Okay, inside that I'm writing some text here. Okay, hi, this is the class of Python for beginners. This is going to be my and we are in session 17 today. Regards. Okay, now this is going to be my body of the email. Okay, and my sender address is nothing but the one that I have created above. I think it is not there. So let me, okay, it is there here because I am reloading it again. So I have to run these things from the top. Instead of Gmail, on the top I wrote it as user. So let me use the same thing here as well. So who is the sender? My email address. This is my password. To whom should I send an email? Whatever is there in the two in my credentials.py, you have to send it to them. Now what is my message? As I have imported this function called MIME multipart, right? And import that function into an object. And inside this object, there are variables. From, this is the from address. To, this is the to address. You can give a list of addresses as well. And what should be my subject? I would say, this is, okay, email through Python. This is my subject of it. Okay. And this is a subject that I'm sending. Next, what am I saying is, this is nothing but a plain message. So inside the text, attach this mail content that I have got. It is a mail body. Attach that into the same RSQL message. It's a plain text. It doesn't have an infographics. If you have images, if you have something, you can specify that here so that the image can be so interactive also. After that, again, I'm doing the same thing in the SMTP lib. I'm logging into SMTP Gmail here. But if you see the difference is in the earlier case, I was using SSL. SSL port number is 465. If you are not using SSL, The normal port number is 587. You have to start a TTLS service. So from the TTLS service, I'm saying this is the address to which you have to log into the server. This is the password of it. And what is the message? The text is nothing but this Oracle underscore message. That's the complete thing. And this one will be passed as an input to the send mail instead of, it is exactly the same thing as above. I did not do any magic. Remember, line number 143 is same as line number 110 to 113. Instead of one single line of body, I'm sending list of things here, right? That's this Oracle text is derived from Oracle message. Inside the Oracle message, I'm defining from which address it is coming, to which address it should go, what is the subject of the email, and what is the text of the email. Everything I'm giving it separately. That's it. I'm making it little more structured. Okay. So now let me copy paste this completely and run, and let's see what happens. Okay. So I think PASSWD is PASSWD. So let me again run it from top to bottom. Let's see here on the screen. It's done. Mail sent. Let's come back to us, our email. See, the subject is email through Python. And this is a class of Python for beginners. We are in session number 17 today. Okay. So that's it. With this, we are basically done with all the topics that I have for this complete course. So in this session, what we tried to cover is logging and reporting is one and the same. First, what I wanted to convey here is logging is a framework that you have to make it as a habit when you're coding, that is majorly used for reporting purposes. So all the logs that is basically saved in somewhere in the form of a text file. If you want to report an error in your program, you basically go refer that file. Similarly, how to send an email with a basic, simple Google credentials that you have. And remember, in case if you don't follow these steps that I have written here, you will not be able to log in to the Gmail account from your Python. Since Google account is so secure, you will have to follow these steps. Only then it will allow some applications from the third-party sources access your Google account. And after you play with your Google account, please do not forget to come back to this page, which is less secure app access, and switch it off. If you don't switch it off, your email account will become vulnerable. When it is vulnerable, it can be hackable. Okay, so I don't want that to happen. So I'm coming back to my access account, my account, and I'm switching it off. That's it. Okay, so that's it. On the note, I'm done with this chapter called logs and email notifications. So if you have any questions, I'm happy to answer it now. As you guys come back to me, let me check if I have covered everything that I have for you. Yeah, I think I have covered. Let me see if I have covered everything I thought of for logging. Yes, I have created all of this for you, and I created. Cool. So one simple exercise that I gave you is try creating a logger for yourself using a YAML file. Because YAML by itself is a type of file, it's a syntax oriented file. I do not want you to get into those concepts in this session. So that's the reason I gave it as a trial for you. After you are comfortable with these things first. So keep setting your logger, keep formatting, changing your logger. And if you are worried about what are the different variables that it will accept, as I gave you this logging, you can go to this logging system. You will get all the handlers that it will basically accept. Okay, let me go there so that you will get to know what parameters you can use. See here, these are the parameters. As I used, if I wanted to get a time, this is the one that I used. I also can get created. You can also show the file name in the logging. You can say which function, inside which function it is running this logger. It will also throw that on the screen. See how many good things that you can print on the screen without even typing them. That's the best part of it, right? All of this you can basically print on the screen. So that's why it is very famous. It makes the life of a coder easy to print something on the screen with maximum information. Okay, as I told you, I picked everything from here and I have been showing it to you on the Python console. That's it. Cool. Any questions, guys? Vinay? Yes, please. Okay, on the tomorrow's session is purely going to be, we are going to get into some coding platforms, online coding platforms. We are going to pick couple of problems there. We are going to solve it right on the session using our whatever skills that we have learned since the beginning. And then later I'm also going to show you some references where you can go and get real-time activities. There is a channel that you can go through it. I'm also going to show you that. Where you can go and follow certain YouTube videos where you can go and really feel of a real programmer. Okay, one session on debugging, right? I remember this. So I am going to schedule a session after all the sessions actually on the debugging and the help. It is going to be again a 1 hour of session, and I'll just wait for your guys. I hope only you have been asking it for some time, but I request everybody on the call to come back to me in case if you have some issues and if you need some time. We are going to schedule a time for you, and I'm going to send the invite only to the people who have issues. All right, thank you. Guys, any questions? All right. I have one information for you before I close today's session. So I think the YouTube on the share icon, I'm still finding some issues to share videos to you guys. So that's the reason probably session 16 you might have not received yet. But as soon as I get the resolution from YouTube, you will be getting the access. Please bear with that, until then. There is nothing much that I can do. That's it. That's only the info I have. Thank you guys. See you in the next session. We'll solve some real problems with all the skills that we have learned so far. Bye bye.